My name is Tolu A. Akinyemi, the Lion of Newcastle. I am a multiple award-winning author based in Newcastle upon Tyne. And so far, I have 15 books published now, and I have 5 books that are forthcoming. So basically, I write in the genre of short stories, poetry, children's literature, and essays. And apart from, I, like Makonnen has mentioned, I also have the publishing imprint, the Roaring Lion Newcastle Limited, where we publish books written by authors of African heritage, Black authors from around the world. Yeah, so that's a brief introduction about myself. Apart from my literary endeavors and my pursuit with the Royal Lion Newcastle Limited, I am also a co-founder of Lion and Lilac. Lion and Lilac is a UK arts and cultural organization that aims to be a home for underrepresented voices within the writing community. And we publish literary works from writers from around the world. I am also the founder of the Newcastle Review, and the Newcastle Review is another UK arts and cultural organization, and we do everything in terms of showcasing writers from around the world, from interviews with authors, from running press releases, and writing book reviews as well. So the Newcastle Review is another platform whereby we bring literary news from the time and beyond. And we also have a bias like towards Black authors, like helping to project Black authors through all of our literary platforms and endeavors. So I have a book launch event forthcoming as well at the Lit and Feel on the 8th of September 2022, which happens to be my birthday as well. So I'll be releasing 4 books at the iconic venue, which is the Lit and Feel Newcastle. And the books that will be coming out are, one of the books is titled Awaken Your Inner Lion, which is a collection of essays to inspire people to find themselves and, awaken the lion within. I also have a collection of poems that will be out at that event as well, which is titled City of Lost Memories. I have a children's picture book that will be released on the same day, and that is titled If You Have to Be Anything, Be Kind. And another collection of poems on sadness and grief. So that will also be out on that same day at the Lit and Feel Newcastle. So if anyone is around the area and would like to attend or be a part of the event, then be sure to join us for a celebration of everything booktiful, like I always like to say. So this evening, I will just read a short excerpt from my collection of essays, which will be out on the 8th of September, as I mentioned. And I will read the synopsis first for the book. So, Awaken Your Inner Lion. An object will remain in the state of inertia until acted upon by an external force. This is what Awaken Your Inner Lion is. It's a call for us to rouse the lion within us, to stir from our state of passiveness and take the reins of our lives. In this poignant and reflective book, Tolu Akinyemi writes about vital touch points in life. It's a book that gives clarity to those in search of it and courage to those who are scared of launching into the unknown. Drawing from his own life, it not only motivates but impacts principles that can help one make the most of life. In it critiques society, dissecting issues of racism and immorality in society, What makes this book interesting is how the writer made his point from an informed position on all the subjects it tackled. When this book is not motivating and inspiring you to take brave steps, it is educating you on crucial issues of life or making commentary on the moral state of the world. So the essay I'll be reading, a short excerpt from, is titled Living a Life of Inspiration, and that is on chapter 7. I'll read the short quotes from the book to begin with. We all need some form of motivation to sail through the challenges of life, but there are days motivation alone will not fix our problems. Tolu A. Akinyemi. So what I've done with the book is to have like a quote for every chapter, and these are all my own original quotes, just as a prelude. People are beginning to become skeptical when they hear inspirational stories these days. They meet every attempt at motivation on social media with mockery, and who can blame them? A lot of people seem to know the key to success, the fundamentals of a good marriage, or how to get in shape in 7 days. But how do we motivate and inspire people when our lives are at odds with what we preach? People are becoming more aware of the superficiality of social media. What people want is people whose life and actions inspire them, and not just people who write motivational words alone. You can choose to be an inspiration to yourself and your community. Think about doing things differently. You don't need to share 10 secrets of success with anyone when you haven't applied them or seen their fruits in your own life. Being a change maker is key to living a life of inspiration. A lot of people see problems. They know 101 reasons why that idea is bound to fail, but you can be different. Don't see the problems alone. Find creative ways to solve the problem, and by so doing, you will become an inspiration to others. To be an inspiration, you must lead an intentional life. If you want your life story to be an inspiration to others, then your choices and decisions must be made with purpose in mind. A pessimist cannot inspire others, only an optimist can. Those who have inspired us in life have shown grit and tenacity on their journey to success. To be an inspiration, the actions and activities that are the sum of our lives must be purposeful. So I will stop there. So the book is currently available for pre-order on Amazon and also on my own website, toludo.com, and on my publisher's website, the roaringlionnewcastle.com as well. And like I said, it's going to be out officially on the 8th of September, 2022. And the title of the book is Awaken Your Inner Lion. Because every one of us, we have talents, we have lions within, and there are so many people out there who are carrying gems, who have these lions within them, but they are sleeping. They are in the state of inertia. So we all need to encourage not just ourselves, but people out there, people with talents out there, to also awaken these talents. Because when we spread, when we inspire one another, then the world becomes a better place for all of us as well. We have a lot of people who are leading productive lives, who are making who are making change happen in their own little ways. It might be by just, it doesn't have to be writing a book, but in your own area of talent. So apart from, I'll just give a rundown of my books as well. So my other books, the first collection of poems that I published was in 2017, and that is titled Dead Lions Don't Roll. And after that, in 2018, I have a collection of inspirational and motivational essays titled Unravel Your Hidden Gems. Then I had a follow-up to Dead Lions Don't Roar, and that is titled Dead Dogs Don't Bark and They Don't Bite. I also have another collection of poems titled Dead Cats Don't Meow, which is the Dead Cats Don't Meow, Don't Waste the Nightlife, which is the last in that series. And the one that followed that in 2019 is titled Never Play Games with the Devil. My award-winning collection of short stories is titled Inferno of Silence, and another award-winning collection of poems, A Booktiful Love. In 2021, I released a collection of poems titled Black Does Not Equal Inferior, and that is also available as well. And Never Marry a Writer. So Black Does Not Equal Inferior and Never Marry a Writer, both books were published on the 1st of January 2021. In April 2021, I published a collection of mental health-themed poetry collection titled Everybody Don't Kolo Mental. So that's the collection of that. Then I have two children's picture books that were released around May, June 2021. And one is titled I Wear Self-Confidence Like a Second Skin. And the second one is titled I Am Not a Troublemaker. Then my collection of coronavirus poems published in September 2021 is titled Born in Lockdown. And that is a poet's account of the coronavirus pandemic, because many times when events of significant proportion happens, we many years after, history is distorted. So that is why we are duty bound as writers to document these stories, to write these stories. And so that's from a real account of a COVID survivor or someone who lived through the pandemic times. And on the 1st of January 2022, I released another collection of poems titled A God in a Human Body. So that was released on the 1st of January 2022. And I just released it on my children's book, If You Have to Be Anything, Be Kind, it was just released yesterday. So if you have to be anything, be kind. And like I said, I have a forthcoming book launch for 4 books, which will encompass the new children's book, If You Have to Be Anything, Be Kind, City of Lost Memories, a collection of poems, and a collection of poems on grief and sadness titled On the Train to Hell, and my collection of essays, Awaken Your Inner Lion. And you can always check me out on Instagram at Tolu Toludo, and Twitter at Tolu Toludo, and at Tolu Akinyemi. So it's a pleasure to be here this evening and to hear you all, and hear from you all your amazing stories, read from your amazing books. And so it's a delight to be here as well. You can always check me out on my website, tolutoludo.com, toluakinyemi.com, and the Roaring Lion Newcastle.com. I remain the great lion of Newcastle, Tolu Toludo. Rah!
Good day, everyone. Thanks to Mr. Makonnen for the invitation. I'm glad to be here again. Considering the success that I recorded from the last book, Living by the Script, I got inspired to do more, and I spoke to my publisher, who encouraged me to do something different. And I was surprised that I could actually do more, like I said, like I really wanted to do, and which gave back to this book. I wish it could always be there. That's the title of the book. It's a collection of poems, and it touches themes such as racism, terrorism, and so on and so forth. We have spirituality, love, war. It addresses current happenings, issues around the world in our society across the globe. So I'll be reading about 3 or 4 poems today. The first one I'll be reading is Children of Dust and Death, Black. To the children of mahogany skin and charcoal black eyelids, I say power. To the children snatched from the wake of a fairy tale and tossed into the harshness of a nightmare, I say power. To the children wrapped with a ragged shawl at back and fed crumbs of bread, so to survive the daily scourge of want, I say power. For we still can rise. From the ashes of burnt dreams, we still can rise. From the charred remains of slaughtered hope, we still can rise. Rise and face the east. See the sun smiling on you, cheering you to a day of reawakening where you hold your faith in your hands and weave it into an embroidery of hope. Power to you, children. The health is your victory field. Actually, in this part of the world, there are lots of people who struggle with life. A lot of people come with a low background and they struggle with a lot and how to survive. It's just to encourage them that irrespective of the situation you find yourself, just keep your head up. Don't be discouraged. Don't let situations determine what you become in life. So that's that about that. And the next one that I'll be talking about is ode to this mother. This one has to do with the health. It will be talking about the health itself. This mother is fading away. See how her skin is hardened with drought. Her sea is barren and gray. See how disasters are subtracting a once daunting figure into a silhouette, into restlessness, into destitution. No wonder our fruits are slim like brooms, like streaks of tears. See how our once soothing songs are receding into whispers. See how our green is washing off. No wonder our fruits are slim like brooms, like streaks of tears. We sobbed Mother Earth's breast, yet grew to stab her with death and pollution. We encountered our care, yet grew to bite our nipples. She fell to her knees, chewing every insult as cords. She sacrificed her health for her pleasure, yet we thickened our ears from her faint cries of help. We have stabbed her, but we can resurrect her like Lazarus. Like Lazarus, we should wipe our tears, reapply our makeup, and watch her spread. Smile again. We can. Mother Earth deserves better. That's that about my. Yes. So the next one I'll be reading is the other face of love. I don't know if I still have more time. The other face of love. You said love is due that burns, that it's the heat that quickens longings, that births attraction and imaginations and everything beautiful. But you never told me love has another face, the face that drills aches in the heart, that demands sacrifices. You didn't tell me that there are nights when tears that lure me to sleep. You didn't tell me the other face of love requires patience in unbuttoning misunderstandings. You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me. So my last one is called, in our language here in Nigeria, Yoruba, it's called Ojo. And Ojo means day. And most times we need to speak to your day. Even when you wake up in the morning, you need to speak to your day like how you want it to go. So, and most times we believe here that when you speak to your day, whatever you say comes to reality. So we did Ojo day. Did you see how yesterday disgorged failure from a chimney? Did you see? I set out today again, like a pregnant rain, loading myself with the blessings of fruitfulness. I have knitted kindness with my customers and pitched my business on the roof of a skyscraper. I beckon to passers-by with honeyed tongue. Ojo, please unfold fruitfulness to me. It is a must that earth is the chameleon's wishes. I speak to you today. Ojo, unfold fruitfulness to me. Ojo, unfold fruitfulness and let my purse be full again. That will be all for now. Thank you. And my book, I Wish It Could Always Be Day, is available on Okada Books and Amazon, as well as my publisher's website. You can reach me also on my Instagram, Deji Ajibade. I'm also available there. Thank you for having me, Makonnen. And I greet every author who is doing great things, using their skill to change the world. I really congratulate you for showing up on this platform today. Well done to everyone.
It's an honor and a pleasure to see you all, to be with you all this morning. I have a wonderful book. It is There's No Health Without Mental Health, Men and Mental Health. And that's my topic of today. I'm a person that's been in the mental health field now for over 29 years, with substance use field also. I have 15 years in the mobile crisis team. I myself am a suicide attempt survivor and a person in long-term recovery with depression. I've won numerous awards, and one of them is the Extra Mile Award that was presented to me in 2019 for my act of heroism or heroism, if you will, with preventing someone from taking their life in the building that we were in. They was going to be jumping off the stairway and tried to and was able to help out. As you know, I'm part of the best-selling book, There's No Health Without Mental Health Anthology, Men and Mental Health, and been a cast member of a multi-award-winning documentary called Suicide, The Ripple Effect, in which Kevin Hines is the producer as well as the writer of it. And it's amazing. And all the other accolades you can see there. And just want you all to know that it's an honor to be with you today to talk about mental health. Now, the thing about mental health is many people don't try to get help for it. They feel ashamed. They self-stigmatize themselves, as well as they do a number of things that prevent them from looking and getting help. Now, some people try to go to drugs and alcohol, street drugs, and yeah, it can help, but it doesn't have the effects that you're looking for because it's going to produce more of the symptoms that you're experiencing. And so therefore, with street drugs, you have to be honest in every area of your life. And when you go see that doctor, you need to tell them everything that's going on, because believe it or not, everything is connected. Okay. Now, for me, I was born, ladies and gentlemen, 2 pounds, 10 ounces. And that means that I could fit in a baseball cap from head to toe. And in that, they had to nurse me up to weight and nurse me up to size. And I got out and I felt like it was freedom. Hey, I got that freedom. Woo! Oh, yeah, no more bounds, no more. Oh, yeah, that's me. And you know what? I went into the arms of a loving parents, you all. And they protected me as best they could. They loved on me. And guess what? Reality set in and the world came in on me. I was abused, ladies and gentlemen, at the age of 4. Molested, in fact, not just by men, but also women. And in that, it made my mind it jumbled it up in thinking and feelings and how to relate to people. And so as I continue to grow, you all, I started getting bullied because I was small in stature and size. And in that outside world was just forming these concepts, these ideas that the world isn't a safe place to be in, and you should just back away from everything. And that's when that mental health stuff starts for me. And it goes on to where I wasn't doing well in school and I wasn't doing sports or anything like that. And my mom decided to put me in an oratorical contest. At least I had a mouth, you all, to use to talk. And guess what? I won that thing. I won the orator. Yeah, I was the man of the hour in 7th grade. Oh, what you say, what you say. Boy, I thought I was the best thing since sliced bread. And it ends up, ladies and gentlemen, that when I went to high school, that thing went away. I was being picked on because now I was in an elementary Catholic school. So we had uniforms, you know. I got to public school and oh my, what a reality crash. And you all, they picked on me because of my clothes. They picked on me because of my size. They just, man, it was just horrible. I got up there and this one teacher got me. I plagiarized out of a book. And it ended up that I put it as my own work, y'all. I turned that thing in and the teacher said, "What's that word?" Couldn't tell her what that word was. How you say it? Couldn't tell you how you say it. What does that word mean? Y'all, she just got me all the way around. And she said, "Do that assignment over." Got an F on it, but yet she said I could do it again. And she said, "Get a dictionary." She said, "Get a thesaurus." And those two things became my bestest friend in the world today. And let me tell you, I did that and I redid the assignment and I got an A on that thing. I got an A, and that teacher inspired me to be the best person that I could be. And so guess what? It inspired me to go to college. Went to Tuskegee University in Alabama. Yeah, Tuskegee Airmen in the house. Tuskegee, go the Tigers. Oh, yeah. Okay. Coming back. And we got up there, ladies and gentlemen. And I didn't go to college to get a college degree because of all that hurt and pain in the past. I sought education as a way to be popular. So I wasn't focused on the studies, and I got y'all messed up, jacked up, got on academic probation like I don't know what. Ended up, I had to change schools and did so. Went to all Catholic, all Christian school, and guess what? Getting grades shot up, everything good now. But yet I got a hernia operation. And in that, it just knocked me out the box. And it ended up, I had to go home. Do y'all know how much education costs these days? Just imagine it being back then. My parents sacrificed so much for me to the point where it ends up that I had to leave because of a hernia operation. And that shame I kept with me. I got married though, got a wonderful job that I'm still part of, and ended up you all making sure that I worked in the ministry. So, hey, minister, did all this good stuff, but my life wasn't complete. You all, it ends up that I tried to take my life in 2008, as mentioned, all because of an arrears. An arrears is when you owe child support, ladies and gentlemen. And it took me over the edge. And I tried to get hit by an incoming train in a car. And I'm so happy that my higher power saved me and that I'm here today and I'm writing that story in there. And I just want to share just a snippet of it. And it's called The Mark. And I love Nickelodeon and I love the Nickelodeon's Avatar. The Last Airbender, it was animation in 2005. And one of the things that is the title was The Guru, The Crossroads of Destiny. And this is the quote that one of the Zuko, his name was Zuko and Prince Zuko, and he was the bad guy who turned into a good guy. And he had this mark on his face. And so in this, I use his quote. And it says, "I used to think this scar marked me, a mark of a banished prince, cursed to chase any and everything. But lately, just lately, I realized I am free to determine my own destiny, even if I'll never be free of any mark." So, ladies and gentlemen, in that, I might have a mental health diagnosis. I might have all these things, but I have not allowed it to dictate who I am and what I'm about. I'm more than a conqueror. I'm more than an achiever. I'm doing bigger and better things in my life, all because I decided to say, yeah, I got a mental health situation here. And yes, I do seek help. And the help I get, I love working out, ladies and gentlemen. That helps me. I take my medications as prescribed. That helps me. I like doing recreational things and being creative. That's how I did the book, ladies and gentlemen. I got my voice back. And not only that, you all, I love giving back to the community. I'm a part of NUMMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and they have so many programs that I talk with and about. And you all, it's just blessing on blessing. And when I talk about that movie, who would have guessed that this bald-headed Joker with this gray beard and all this would be in a multi-award-winning work? I mean, it's through the world. And we share about those complications, those symptoms, those hard times. And guess what? We're showing that we can overcome. Please, Black man, please, Black child, don't let your disability keep you from being the best person you are. Stop looking at what you don't have and start looking at what you do have. And in that, you can make a world a better place. And I just want to say thank y'all for allowing me to share, to be a part of something that's bigger than myself. And hey, give back to the good old folks here, because everybody on this platform, you're important. And I just bow down, and I say thank you all so much for allowing your gifts to shine, to come forth and help bring unity to all of us. So with that, I think I shared the screen. If you don't know or you didn't see, I'm going to share it one more time for the information about me. And just know that y'all, it's about giving back. So please, ma'am, please, sir, continue on in your journey. Love you, and make that thing happen. All right.
Yeah. So thanks again. Hey, listen, what I was saying is that it's a pleasure to come to you from sunny South Florida, and more specifically from Miami. You know, we like to joke with people that we're here with the fun and the sun. And for those who haven't been to Miami, we give you an invitation to come to Miami. So we want to do this a little bit differently. I got my partner Shebah Carfagna here with me, and we want to talk about why we came up with this whole idea around the age let's work out. I'm 68 years young. She's 60.
Hi, good morning. As you can see, my partner has all of the energy here. We have a book. My name is Shebah Carfagna. And again, we have a book called The Ageless Workout. We thought it was necessary, and we thank Wendell for this great opportunity of lead-in, where he spoke about mental health and shared his mental health concerns. We are somewhat in that same realm and that same scope. However, we deal with the physical and conditions and how to make you connect with your mental health, and you deal with that, which has always been hush hush, but also your physical and how you have lived a better quality of life. And that is for everyone. Our passion is of people of color, obviously, because that is missed a lot. For many, many different reasons. It is missed either, by the way we all arrived here, by everything is influenced by that, regardless of who you are. And so we wanted to share that. And we just kind of fell upon this. And Nate'll tell you how did a little bit about your background.
So by happenstance, right? Or standing on the platform of artness, right? Because, life sort of has a way of moving on you. If you don't move on life, life will move on you. And so as it happened for me, I was going through my own personal health struggles, right? Struggles with my heart. I had sense enough to know to go to the doctor. I go to the doctor, they check me out. I go to a cardiologist appointment, one appointment. And after that, I said, I'm gonna change my life. eating different, sleeping different, doing all kinds of things differently, led into me exercising, led into a class, led into teaching, later on managing fitness operations, and then into this business that we have right now, the Ageless Workout with us, which is a method. We also have Panache Fitness and Panache Healing. So we had 3 companies that we're operating out of through the platform of Artness. You ought to do something as a Black man. You ought to do more for your health as Black families, right? As Black couples. And so that's how we get to this point, Shebah.
Well, and that is true. And oddly enough, the background of the story is we met because we both applied for the same job. So we're letting you in. And then Nathaniel obviously was more qualified. I got Nathaniel, but more importantly, we realized that the corporate lifestyle was not for us after years of success. And we took a leap of faith and wanted to go on to something new that would benefit our quality of life. And so that's how we ended up with the companies that we have. And a little bit about the companies that we have. We do videos, and they are on various platforms out there on the internet. We contract with them. We contract with 5-star hotels and spas. We also do neighborhood projects. We work with people with special needs. I have a 32-year-old special needs son who is autistic. We work with children. We work with all kinds of other disabilities in terms of as you get older, you know, we have experience with Parkinson's, cancer, Alzheimer's. I have a total hip replacement and went back to work as a trainer in 8 days. That's what we want to share with people through our book right here, is that you have to manage the condition that's going to happen to you and not let the condition manage you. And that's how we kind of stumbled into this in 2005. And look, 17 years, we're going even stronger on a leap of faith and passion and commitment to service to help make everyone better and better manage the trials and tribulations of going to the doctors and medications. And we've actually experienced that. And what better at 65, 68 to share this with people, our success story, and let them come in. So Nate can tell you a little bit more about when you go to the doctor and how that works and how the medications aren't always what, Western medicine is very different than what they practice in the rest of the world. And I don't know how many people know that. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're learning, right, or we've actually experienced is that there are different types and styles of medicine, right, or healthcare. Some of us, most of us are involved with sick care. When we get sick, we go to the doctor and they diagnose and they give you something for the symptoms and what have you. But we've had an opportunity to experience life from a different perspective and health from a different perspective, preventative medicine or functional medicine and what have you. And so they go down to the root causes of what it is. And then, there's a series of information that they gather around your health, right? So they use data to make decisions, right? Biomarkers and what have you. And so it's more about, longevity. And so that's really the stuff that we're looking at, is how do you have health at the top, right? And then, strength, because, when you get to be this age, and anybody else, we say you want to be strong, you want to have muscles, but not necessarily to look good, but to use your body throughout, right? So if you're building a foundation, you want to have a foundation. So going back to basics. So that's the stuff that we're basing the work that we have on, the Ageless Workout. And one of the things, Shebah, that we talk about is that the Ageless Workout is a method, right? That people can actually get all of what they need through the Ageless Workout. Maybe you can expand a little bit on that.
Well, what we found in it, and we are this second career for us, quite honestly. And so we embarked upon this and took many, many certifications that some of our colleagues have been in the business for 20, 25, 30 years. And so we jumped into this space saying, we want to learn everything we can learn. And so as a result, we're trained in many different methodologies that is beneficial and advantageous for you to read our book. Here's the book again. Because the benefits is that you get the wealth of our experience in one book. And the advantages are you get access to us in America whenever you want, because we're available on Zoom. I mean, how many of you, and I know you all are authors, actually get up and walk around and know how many steps you take? Your business is to sit and write and develop. I mean, at some point in the day, you need to get up and move around and see. As you can see, I wanted you to see the curtain, but I also wanted you to see where we broadcast our studio. This is just outside of our home. And this is where we do classes that go to people all over the world. We put out a newsletter. So if you wanted to join, we can send you that information about things that are really important to you as you move along in all of these different chapters in life. And so you have to, at some point, come to terms with that. Just as Wendell said, you have to come to terms with who you are and tell, and be honest with yourself. You have to also have that same honesty about your body and the conditions that will come to you as a result of an aging body. What we believe is that you are not aging, you are aging well. And so that is the number one priority, is to age well. And to be able to interact with your family, to be able to travel. Our host said he was going to be multiple different places. Well, do you know how hard it is to travel once you get in your 60s and 70s internationally? It becomes difficult. There's cognition. So our program includes cognition. It includes movement. It includes, bar classes if you do that, track if you do that, aerobics. We have some classes that are more adept for someone who has hip replacement like me. We actually have clients who have Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. To be honest, our oldest client is 97 years old and requires both of us in attendance. So we really do have something that is valuable to everyone to share. And quite honestly, we don't expect everyone to listen to us today. But it is our passion. It's not about the awards that we won. Sure, as a former municipal executive, he has tons of awards. But at the end of the day, when you get to this point where we are today, those awards, the business, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is how well you can weather the storm in the next chapter when the lights go down. How well can you live your life and maintain your mental health? Are you able to get up and go out and do ecotherapy? For those of you that are on video, who knows what ecotherapy is? Thank you. Okay. For those of you that have your video on, who took 5,000 steps yesterday?
I did.
You better raise your hand.
When did you take them?
Well, they didn't take them. He didn't take them. So how do you keep your body resilient? Oh, there you go. See, you can put your cameras on for us. You can put it on. You can put it on and off. This is an interchange. This is different. This is different. This is what we do, okay, that makes you want to engage here with this. And by the way, you can get this on Amazon. Okay. Our host has even come on. You told us about your travel. I mean, who went to the doctor recently and they diagnosed him? I went to the doctor and they said to me, you have high A1C. A1C is my sugar.
Yeah.
Okay. It was above the level, like a percentage. And they go, oh my God, you're a trainer. How does that happen? You need to go on, what was it? Farxiga. It's a drug. Okay. We try not to take statins. Statins are for your heart. We try not to take those kind of things. What that is in America, and I know most of you aren't in America, what that is, oh my God, let's panic, take a pill. In reality, all that is changing your diet. So, while I'm a trainer, I eat a lot of bacon because I like bacon. Okay, I eat a lot of candy because I'm nervous and hyper. I eat candy when I'm stressed. All I have to do is change my diet. What you have to become is an educated consumer. And so what we do, but not all of it's in the book. It's just a guide, like you go to the store, right? There we go. You go to the store, you read, and you see the supermarket books in America, they pick up the People magazine and National Enquirer. This is like that kind of book. It's a guide. And so that's really what we want to share, is that it's really about, at the end of the day, it's about health and wellness. And, and we actually train, we work on the most expensive zip code in America. We contract, and it's called Fisher Island, where we're going to have our next book presentation in the fall. And it's an island full of people who have resources and who are truly blessed. But at the end of the day, you have to stay alive long enough to enjoy life, regardless of what your resources are, regardless of what your accomplishments are. You have to have a long and healthy life.
Well,
you're okay with that one?
You did fantastic. Look, you can't mail this thing in. You cannot mail this in. You got to put something in order to get something out, right? So that's what we're talking about. Wendell, man, you touched my heart when you talked about this mental health stuff, because one of the ways we got this book off was that the pandemic hit and we needed something to do. So we're exercising and we were doing all of these things. And so it just forced me, as I was lying down, trying to figure out my next moves and how I was going to pay my bills, to come up with a book.
He's kidding. They got jokes.
So we came up with the Ageless Workout. Hey, listen, you know what we're saying is that it's one thing to get involved with books and fitness and what have you, but it's quite another thing when it gets inside of you. So, Shebah, one of the things that we talked about doing was having some dialogue with the people who are out there. Why don't
Does anyone have any questions? We may be out of time, but we didn't want this to just be about us talking. What we wanted to do was to bring you in to our circle, and in the chat box when we're done, we're happy to put in the information for our websites, to join our newsletter if you like to, where you can purchase our books. You can even Zoom here with us if you wanted to, and you don't have to have on your screen. We want to share and be of service to the community and to everyone. So,
and the book is on Amazon. The book is on Amazon, but you can also get it on Google Books. I'm Nate Wilkins on Facebook, the Ageless Workout, Instagram. We put all of that there. Shebah, you know, if you got some more to say, share it, and we sure appreciate the opportunity to just, you know, just share some thoughts with you.
One last thing I would like to share, and hopefully we're not out of time, just signal me if we are, is Nate puts on a men's health conference twice a year. And we would love to invite openly, Wendell, we're going to put you on the spot. We would love to be able to reach out to you after this program today to invite you and anyone else who would be interested in either participating on the platform or attending. There is no cost for this. And so we do this as a commitment. We do one in November, which is around November, and then one in June, which in America is Men's Health Month. Both of these are, I don't know if it's international or not, but you're welcome to join us, where we bring experts in to talk to men about where they are. And we want to open that door up to all men, especially to men of color. So those are the kind of community outreach things we're doing to bring people in at a time when the pandemic came along. And the one word that we learned was pivot. And so we had all of this out here that you see here, TVs, screens, and everything. And we never really used them because we were more out of house. But now we're able to pivot and reach a greater audience. And that's what we want to do, is be of service to people to actually see us do this. So on that note, if you don't have any questions, I think we've taken up enough of everyone's time.
My name is Marie Jenkins. I am located in the Chicagoland area of Illinois, the state of Illinois. So we'll jump in. Once again, I stated, my name is Marie Jenkins. I am a Golden Book of World Records holder, a certified breakthrough life coach, and a life-changing motivational speaker. As stated, the name of my book is Screenshots, My Purging Season. And when people think about screenshots, you just think about like taking selfies and things of that nature, but it's totally opposite. The book came through a conversation with a friend, and it was a social media post where you had to randomly hurry up and hit a button to take your screenshot, and it'll tell you something that is motivational that you needed to hear at the moment, for me anyway. So I did it 12 times. And on that, out of the 12 times, 2 of those times was, don't forget how beautiful that you are. And at that moment of my life, I was going through a dark, deep depression. And the next day I woke up after I prayed about those screenshots, and I played them over and over in my head of, don't forget how beautiful you are. The next day I woke up and I see myself for the first time in 3 years. I would see myself, of course, every day in the mirror, but I just really didn't see myself because I was so deep down in that depression. And so that next morning I woke up and I looked in the mirror and I did not recognize who I was. I moved my face around. I'm like, I know that you're in there somewhere, but I had just lost everything about me from that depression. And I weighed in at 350 pounds, and it was just, I didn't know who I was anymore. I was just letting life control me. So I stepped on that scale and it said 350 pounds. And I was like, Now, that is not right. So I decided to, take matters into my own hands and actually begin to work out, eat better, and things of that nature. But the thing is, along this journey, I realized that it was never about the numbers on the scale, but I was literally unequally yoked with myself, mentally, physically, emotionally. Everything was just off. And once I realized that is when my health really took a turn for the better, not because of, the weight loss journey, because that is amazing too, but I had to really get in a mental position in order to see exactly where I needed to be on my next steps of life. It was never about anything weight related, but that was like the opening door to see how I was out of alignment with my life. So during that part of life, I began to get all this clarity that I have never had before. Outside of the depression and everything like that. And so my book, Screenshots, my purging season, it talks about, how to basically break through mental roadblocks and how to overcome the steps of life. And in there on page 34, it gives you a good breakdown of just that. Here, it just lines it everything out for you. And not only have I written these words on paper, but as these words were written down on paper, I was going through that same process. So I know that this process worked because I too had to be one of those people that trusted this process. And so from there, I just began to explore more in life and do things. And my clarity had become so clear as when I gained my certification as a life coach as well. And the thing is, it's not just initially was about me, but then it became more about how can I help other people that struggle, may think it's just the weight loss journey, but not knowing that it's also the mental and emotional breakthroughs in life that they have to break through in order to even just, begin to lose that weight. So once I realized that for myself, I'm like, I can help someone else with this as well. And my book, Screenshots, My Purging Season, also dives into the learning of how to basically love yourself through that process and beyond. It also, breaks down everything in a workbook as well. So not only are you reading a book about how to overcome the mental breakthroughs of life, but it also gives you a workbook that you can do on a daily basis of, as you're going through this process and as you're taking that toll of mentally just dealing with it as well. So I like to go through something that I call, the process of me. And if from there, it's just basically transforming merely existing to actually knowing your worth, knowing your value, and knowing your purpose. One saying that I live off now is your journey, your purpose, your way. And from that, it just broke down your journey. You are the only one who can write your story. You have to begin somewhere. Everyone has a different mark. Everyone has a different beginning. But the purpose of this is you have to begin in order to begin to really live life. You have to begin in order to realize that, hey, I may not have it all together. And guess what? It is okay. I had to come to the realization that me having it together was not there. And I had to be okay with that, because once I began to get okay with that, my alignment started to shift a little bit. Once I began to understand that, my life may not be what I wanted to be, or things happen that should have not happened in my life, my alignment started to align itself. So that's the journey part. And then your purpose part, you have the power to basically write your story. You have the power within yourself to just begin to understand that your path may be different from someone else's path. And so many times, and oftentimes, should I say, we have that comparison factor where we're looking at our friends or our family, sisters, brother, whomever, and their life is one way, but we don't know the story behind what it took to get there. And so my purpose is to help others find their purpose, find their path, and to help them get on that road that belongs to them. And how you do it, your way. No one can tell you which way is best for you. No one, we can suggest a lot of things, but it has to take a lot of inner self-reflection for you to understand that this is your way of doing things. Someone could say, oh, I run 15 miles a day. Someone can say, I change my eating. Someone can say, I pray, I meditate. And that is really big in my life. Meditation and prayer is really big in my life, because through this journey, it was not easy. Is it easier now? Yes. But do I still have those moments of, ooh, I might have fell off the wagon. But the thing is, I don't beat myself up about it. And I don't sit there in that moment too long, because in the book, it also teaches you how not to stay in that moment. Because when you stay in that moment, you can wake up 5 years later. And in my position, it was 3 years later and life was just happening. I was just literally merely existing and not living. Life had taken over. Life had taken a toll. Life can be hard. Yes, it can. But you are more powerful. You are worthy. You are awesome. You are worthy of living. You are worthy of having the desires of your heart. Now, do things throw curveballs? Yes. And me, I try to stay away from the sugar, but when life started throwing me those curveballs, after I woke up after that depression of 3 years, I took that lemon, I made lemonade, I made lemon pound cake because that's my weakness. I made lemon drops. I made whatever lemon that I wanted to make, because now that I owned that lemon, and that lemon didn't own me anymore. So back to that, your journey, your purpose, your way can be the steps that you create for yourself. We can help you lay that foundation. We can help you do a self-discovery. We can help you do all the work that you can do, that you can possibly do, but it all centers around you, as you are uniquely and wonderfully made. It all centers around you and what your desire is and what you want out of life. Purpose is within you, and you are worthy of that purpose. But the thing is, I help you narrow down that purpose that you desire, or help you narrow down the clarity to see the path of purpose that you should be on. So once again, I'm just not speaking because I wrote it down on paper. I'm just not speaking because, oh, these words sound good to me. I'm just not speaking because I think it's something someone wants to hear. I'm speaking because it was me. I'm speaking because I had to go through that process. I'm speaking because I know how it feels to be in depression because of things of the world, and no one knows about anything, because you're still showing up. You're still showing up with a smile, because you have to be strong. You can be strong, yes, but you also have to deal with the inner you, because if not, the inner you begins to speak on the outside of you. And here I am, I'm dealing with my depression. I'm like, I got this. I go home, I'm stepping over stuff all in the floor, but on the outside, I'm smiling. There's days I didn't even want to shower. I didn't even want to bathe. But when I went out, I smiled and smelled good, because no one could ever know my secret. And secrets keep you bound. Like, they keep you bound, because if everybody knows your secret, then what are people going to think? I had to get in that mindset of, I'm 40 years old. You either like me, love me, or you don't. Your judgment of me is no longer dictating who I am. And so secrets are very, very controlling, because what if my secret get out? How would people recognize me? How would people look at me if they know that I'm not what I'm proclaiming to be? What are those secrets that's holding you? Because once you deal with those secrets that's holding you bound, your life begins to open up. And that inner you that's controlling you, those secrets that are controlling you, become little minute factors in life that become stumbling blocks that used to be stumbling blocks. Now they're steps up. You're stepping. What secret is this? I don't know, but I'm gonna face it. This secret hey, it was what it was, it happened. This secret, every secret that you deal with, you elevating yourself higher and higher and higher. That now you're standing on your secrets, and now your secrets are public. And guess what? You own that, because that's your power that you took back, that kept you in the darkness for so long. So my book, Screenshots, my purpose. This is my purpose, to help other people. This right here, when I finished writing the last page, these words no longer belong to me, because I purged them out. And so that's where the purging, I literally had to purge everything that I had as secrets in my life, everything that I didn't want people to know about me. Guess what? It's here because I didn't want to hold on to it anymore. I wanted to share with the world because my testimony can help somebody else through their test. And that's my mental that I deal with. I went through some things that my parents and my family didn't, and we are a very, very close-knit family. They didn't even know about it until my mother read the book. She's like, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I said, Mommy, you're a wonderful mom. It's something that I had to deal with in order to be able to tell the world, because those were my secrets that I was holding in. And those secrets kept me in darkness. Those secrets kept me in bondage, but I'm free today. And I'm here to help other people achieve that freedom, achieve that joy that surpasses all understanding, that peace of life. I'm here to help people gain peace, not only clarity, but peace, because when you're dealing with so much from childhood to adulthood, do you not know if you don't deal with those childhood traumas, they become your adult traumas? You have to dig deep. You have to go and see where it started at. And stop letting those traumas control you and own those traumas that you went through. Yes, it happened to me, but here I am today to share my story, to spread my story, and to help you gain that peace. So once again, my name is author Marie M.J. Jenkins. You can find all of my information on my website, mariejenkins.com. My social media handles are MJ Jenkins, MJ Journey to Health, the number 2, not spelled out, just the number 2. But once again, if you go to my website, mariejenkins.com, all my information is listed there. And I thank you for this platform today. And I appreciate and respect all the authors that have gone before me and the ones that are coming up. You all are amazing. And I appreciate your amazing talent. Thank you.
Well, hello, everybody. I am from Washington, D.C. So a little about myself. When you look at me, you probably would have thought that I was a statistic. I had my first child at the age of 16, but he actually helped me a lot. I graduated from high school. I went to college. I got my bachelor's degree and I have my master's degree. So I am now happily married with 3 kids. So a little about my book. It's a poetry book. So I started writing this book after I had my 3rd child, Carmen. I was in a real deep depression. A lot of stuff was going on personally, internally, outside of me and my family and, just the world. I would like to share one of my poems with you guys, if that's okay. It's called Justice Ain't Free. They take me from the motherland and strip me of my language, my culture, royalties, and freedom. We're going on a journey to a new place. In these shackles, I feel so out of place. They look like me, but I can't make out what they say. I'm intrigued, but this boat ride got me and the others sick. Some of us died and were thrown over ship. But they won't quit. They on a mission to get us to the promised land. Promises of a new life, but I can only feel the promise of new death over and over again. You see, many have been on this journey. Many have survived the lashes and masters breaking them down. I assure you this, justice ain't free. Because as I fast forward to the present, a lot of us sit shackled in the penitentiary. See, we in the slave trade all over again. Justice ain't free. When my own people killing our own free of charge, but yet we're screaming for justice and reality that just ain't so. This time, innocent souls lost, but you really think we're free. I laugh, but don't pity me. Crazy how we yell for justice when we sit here comfortably. So if you thought it ain't come with a price, then you really ain't understanding this thing called life. We all pay a price. So about that poem, as you see, like a lot of stuff has been going on for many years, from slavery to injustices that we as Black people are experiencing. So that's what I wanted to interpret with this poem. So, yeah, this book is very important to me. I started writing when I was real, like in high school, and I didn't take it seriously until after having my third child. Writing has helped me heal a lot of traumas. In this book, you will see some of the traumas. You never know. We may have people in our families or just people we don't even know that have experienced the same struggles, traumas. I heard Mr. Wendell earlier talk about his mental health and him being molested. At the age of 13, 14, I was molested as well by a family friend of my son's father's side. So, you know, you never know who you could help heal. So this book is a book of healing. This book is to help you release all those traumas, all that hurt, even though, you know, you have a lot of times where we have people who would never ever speak on their traumas, but this book, my poetry, I just pray that it touches one person. You know, it's a blessing to be able to actually have the courage to write a book, come up with the thoughts of the book before you even write it. It's definitely a blessing. You can find my book on Amazon. I don't have a website yet. I'm trying to get all that stuff together, but if you look at the cover, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of blurry, but there are lips on the cover. So growing up, I was called many names in reference to my lips, soup coolers, you know, things of that nature. But what I found as I got older, that these lips tell stories. These lips tell stories of joy, pain, and so many other things. So I just ask that you guys keep on writing, keep on encouraging you, all of you guys that I've listened to before me, you guys are such an inspiration, and I appreciate you all. So that's it. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, my
Hello.
name is Myia Douglas, and I am 9 years old. And my name is Eesa Manning, and I'm also 9 years old.
Hi. So today I'm going to ask the girls some questions about their books. So, what inspired you to write a book?
What inspired me to write a book is because not a lot of children know about financial literacy. So if I was to put it in a book that they would understand, it would help them in the real world. I wrote my book because I got the idea to write my book because of a true story of when my best friend left my school, and my year one teacher told my mom that I was a brilliant writer and could write a book, so I did.
Thank you. How long did it take you to write your book?
About a year or a year and a half. About 3 years, because so I started writing my book when I was 5, and then I took a long pause, and then I started writing it, and it took quite a long time to edit and check through.
So, would you have given your book a different title?
Probably not, because it suits the title. I put the title with the story so it would match. So I don't really think there would be another title to suit my book.
What about you?
Yeah, the same thing, because I don't like my title matches the book. quite well. And yeah.
What was the process like, and did you enjoy it?
The process was very long. I did enjoy it. Well, I did enjoy it. It was worth every time, every second, every minute, every hour.
What about you?
Yeah, it's quite difficult at some times, but I enjoyed it.
Did you find anything difficult during the process?
I found finding the right pictures was quite difficult because there were so many ideas.
Something I found difficult was probably I didn't really find anything difficult. Maybe just a little bit energy taking, because you have to put all your energy into it. So maybe not difficult, but
Took a lot of energy.
Yeah.
When did you first realise you wanted to be a writer?
A random day when I found a penny underneath my mum's car seat, and I thought, oh, I want to write a book called Rich Penny, Poor Penny.
Amazing.
Again, when my year one teacher told my mum that I was an excellent writer in school.
What do you like to do when you're not writing?
I like to read, learn Spanish, and watch TV.
What do you like to do?
I like to sing, dance, and I do my homework, but it depends kind of what kind of mood I'm in.
Fair enough. What does your family think about your writing?
They're very supportive, especially our nanny.
She is our angel.
Yeah.
Wow. What is one of the most surprising things you learned in creating your book?
Probably that this is for both of us. I mean, not it. All the questions are for both of us, but we both have the same answer. Probably because not a lot of people know about child authors, so they're very impressed, and they're like, "Oh, you're a child author." Once we were doing a book signing, and the lady asked our older auntie if it was her book, if both of them were her books, and she said no, it was our books, and she was very surprised.
Want to say anything? Okay. Do you have any suggestions to help me become a writer? And if so, what are they?
So my ones are don't give up, be positive, even when things don't come your way, just carry on going.
Never give up, always try, because you never really know. And try and think about your, I guess, experiences, or just have a little bit of fun, because sometimes you don't have to take everything seriously.
What do you hear from your readers? And what sort of things do they say to you, people who have read your books?
So at school, people normally ask how I did it, and it's quite simple, really. I just put my mind to it, don't give up. And even though I took a really big break, I kept on going because I almost forgot about it, but I remembered it in the end. And my friends who read it at school, most of the time they just ask for a 50% discount.
That's a large discount, isn't it?
When I was like, oh, did you write a book? How did you do it? And sometimes I don't exactly know how to answer them, but I did see some of the comments and said, oh, wow, that's so inspiring, and thank you.
What is the moral to your story?
And the moral to my story is that even when things don't go your way, just be happy what you've got in the moment.
That's amazing.
The moral to my story is that you should never judge anyone before you go into their shoes, Hence why I have this as my cover. See, everyone would assume that this is the rich penny, but this is the rich penny and this is the poor penny, but actually it's the other way around. This is the rich penny and this is the poor penny. And a lot of people just assume that it's that because one is clean and one is dirty. So you should never really judge or assume before you've gotten to know them.
Brilliant. What do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a model, open up my own line, or if I can't do that, a estate agent, if I can't do that, an actor, but again, if I can't do that, I'll keep on continuing my career as an author and maybe be an artist on the TFL?
NFL.
Yeah.
No, I think you're talking about NFTs. You want to be an artist.
NFT.
But as you have said, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything you want to.
And I want to be a dancer, a singer, basically someone who performs. So I want to be a performer, a lawyer. I want to be a performer, a lawyer, and maybe even a photographer because it's really fun and you get paid for it.
Amazing. Did you want to read your book? The summary.
The Unicorn Surprise Party is a fun story about two best friends called Sparkle Beads and Glimmer Dazzle. One day, Sparkle Beads went to school and received some sad news. Glimmer would be leaving their school in 2 days as her dad got a new job. What would you do if your best friend was going away? Sparkle, with help from her mum and dad, threw a surprise party for her bestie. This book's theme focuses on the value of friendship, caring for each other, and organizing a party.
Sorry. All glitters that is not gold. A fun educational tale allowing children to experience the concept of money and power of love and what matters in life. This heartwarming story about two pennies from different walks of life who cross paths, it teaches our children to see the views of others and learn a valuable lesson, which is varying degree of a social class does not mean you cannot be friends and learn new things. This book covers the themes friendship, kindness, being non-judgmental, valuing others, work ethic, and acceptance.
Amazing. Is there anything else you'd like to say, girls? You have a few more minutes.
Well,
if you want to do anything, keep your mind to it and don't give up.
Also, if you want to, like you said, if you want to do anything or be kind of anything, and if you want to do anything, just do it. Put your mind to it, and you can do it. There is not anything that the human brain cannot do.
Well, thank you, girls. Continue to be amazing, and we look forward to seeing more of your creations. Is there anywhere that we can keep up with what you're up to?
Yes, my website is myiadouglas.com.
My website is eesamanning.com, but it's still in the state of construction, so it might not work just yet.
And my Instagram is Myia Douglas.
And my Instagram is Eesa Manning.
So are you writing any other books? Anything else happening?
Yes.
Yeah. My new book's called The Quest to Adventure, but it's a chapter book, so it's still going to take quite a long time.
And my new book is going to be called Rich Penny, Poor Penny, the Remix.
Amazing. Thank you, girls.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for having us on the Black Book Show.
Thank you very much for inviting me and letting me be a regular on your Black Book Show. This is an amazing show, and I just want to congratulate all the authors that have been on so far. Everybody's been so amazing and so inspirational. And I just hope that I can do justice by talking about my book. So my book is called Worth. And the reason I wrote it was primarily because I wanted to highlight that we all go through experiences in our lives, experiences that can bring up our sense of worth and experiences that bring down our sense of worth. And I hope that if you read this book, you will see it's actually a memoir, and it's a memoir about my life. So at the very start, let me introduce myself a little bit. So as I said, my name is Bharti Dhir, which is a very Asian name. And most people will wonder why I've got an Asian name. And that is because when I was a baby, I was abandoned on the roadside in Uganda. And initially, the authorities thought I was an Asian baby. And it turned out that actually I was not. I was of dual African Asian heritage. I grew up realizing the issues relating to prejudice about illegitimacy, because obviously I was illegitimate, and born in 1960, it was something that was very frowned upon. And I accept that it still is in some communities. So, you know, you have that sort of sense of worth being brought down, knowing that there are people in the community who look down upon you. I've also talked about my growing awareness of racism, racial prejudice. So there is colorism, even within our African Black community, also in the Indian community. There is this issue of color. So I was not considered attractive at all by any means. And I was actually adopted in an Indian family. So an Indian family adopted me, knowing I was dual heritage. My parents went against the norms of Indian society. So they were berated for adopting a Black child. They were berated for adopting a girl. So again, I grew up with that sense of sexism because boys were more valued than girls were. People used to say to my parents, well, if you adopt a girl, why not adopt a boy? A boy is going to bring you more value. Why are you bringing a girl into your family who's going to possibly dishonor you because you have the dishonor, and the dishonor was going to be as a result of my illegitimacy. So they were told I would do what my birth mother had done, which was bring dishonor and shame upon the family, because they believed that the sins carried in the blood. So I would do what my mother did, my birth mother did. So I grew up with those sort of experiences, the racism, the colorism, the prejudice about illegitimacy, all sorts of superstitions around being illegitimate. You know, either I was lucky child and blessed because my parents had adopted me, and my father, in my book I've written about my father winning the football pools soon after they adopted me. And of course that brought up this huge thing about, oh my goodness, she's a lucky child, she's blessed. Everybody wanted to touch me. Everybody wanted to get some blessing of me, which is in itself a form of prejudice, you know, and a lot of pressure put on a young child to, you know, people would say things like, I'm going to buy a house, I'm going to buy a house. Is it, do you think it will be a lucky house? And in my naivety and innocence, I would say, yes, it's going to be a lucky house. It's only when I grew older, I realized the implications and the pressure of that responsibility. So as I said, my book is called Worth, and it's about experiences that sort of bring you up and experiences that bring you down. And for a long time, I battled with that feeling of inadequacy. So one of the things I wrote in my book was about, this sense of beauty. I always compared myself to the Western idea of beauty and the Eastern idea of beauty. And I found myself wanting. It's only as I grew into adulthood, that I started to appreciate who I was and what I was and how unique I am to God, basically. So my memoir has a lot of themes to it, really loads of themes. It's a story about illegitimacy. It's a story about adoption. It's a story about growing up with some illnesses and conditions. So when I was 8, I developed a illness called epidermolysis bullosa. It's EB for short. Some of you may have heard it and some of you have not, but it was an incredibly rare skin condition where it looks as if somebody's thrown hot water over you. And I had blisters all over my body. So, you know, you can imagine what that did to my sense of worth, because obviously at school I was shunned because people thought I was contagious. I was bullied as well. So, and then people were saying things to my parents like, you see, if you hadn't brought her into the family, she wouldn't have got ill. She's cursed. She's a cursed child. So, you know, imagine becoming a blessing and a curse at the same time. So, and then my story also covers the theme of being a refugee. So in 1972, Idi Amin, the president then, ordered all Asians to leave. And in one of my stories, I talk about when we were leaving, how the soldiers pointed a gun at my adoptive mum and asked her to leave me behind because they said that I was not one of the Asians, I was one of them. And my mum refused, which was, you know, a huge, I mean, that chapter is called A Mother's Courage, and it's a tribute to my mother. It's a tribute to one of my cousins who was my sister, you know, she was married, one of the women who was married to my cousin's sister-in-law. And it's a tribute to both of them because there was such a lot of courage shown. You know, women always come out with their resilience and their strength at times of immense stress and immense, you know, sort of negativity. And my mother was just so brave. I mean, this soldier, he'd actually, the third time he ordered her to leave me behind, he actually cocked his trigger. And we thought, that's it. You know, I thought either I'm going to die, my mum's going to die, or we're all going to die, because he didn't defy the soldiers. But a miracle took place and he let us go. And he just told my mum that he saluted her courage. The story regarding my cousin is when we were ensconced in the capital, Kampala, and we were going to leave. My mum had gone away to get papers for us to leave. And my sister-in-law told us that, you know, we had to be prepared to go into the water tank. And she would knock on the tank 3 times. That's only if the soldiers came to the flat we were in. And she was, and again, that was a remarkable show of her own courage, where she was prepared to die for not just her 4 children, but another 4 who had also come into the home to hide there before we left. And, you know, now with hindsight, as an adult, you think, wow, you know, if we'd gone into that water tank, we could have drowned, anything could have happened. But what would have happened to her if the soldiers had got hold of her? So my theme is about being a refugee as well. And then when we came to England, you know, we were placed in a council estate, and the racism was mind-blowing. We'd never had that level before as a family, where bricks were being thrown through our windows. We had, you know, dog shit put through the letterbox. We had graffiti telling us to get out and go back to our own country. And it culminated in people trying to set fire to our house before the council actually moved us. So my theme is very much around the whole issue of prejudice and the different types of prejudice that there are. and how it affects a person's worth and how it can affect a person's very being. You know, when you're in that sort of situation, it consumes your very being. And I've talked a lot about spirituality. I've also talked a lot about religion in my book, because we were, you know, my family was Punjabi, of Punjabi origin, and there was Sikh in religion. But we were taught by the missionaries in an English school. And so I grew up just understanding a lot about Christianity. But as time has gone on, religion itself, the whole concept of religion, played a lot of part in affecting my worth, because it was religious leaders that told me, if you pray to, you know, say Jesus or God, you'll be cured. And I wasn't. So that left me thinking, well, am I not worthy enough to be cured? Then it was religious leaders that of other faiths that told my parents that I was cursed, and that I was a cursed child, you know. And so that had a lot of effect on my worth. And my book explores my sort of growing awareness of spirituality as opposed to religion and what religion dictates, and about my personal relationship with the divine, not the religious relationship, which I personally found very wanting and affecting my worth a lot. So my whole book is called Worth, and it's about the different experiences and how I've got through those experiences, and how I've found peace within myself, peace with who I am, and peace with my past, basically, and understanding that being of dual heritage should not affect your sense of worth. I celebrate who I am today. I am African, I am Asian, I'm proud of who I am. I am a Black woman predominantly, and I grew up never celebrating that. So I just hope that if people pick up this book, they will actually realize that we're all unique beings, and we should all celebrate who we are and what we are and experiences we've gone through, because excuse me, it's those experiences that make us stronger in ourselves and give us that sense of, you know, that sense of worth. And I just want to talk a bit about my book and the spirituality and the destiny. So I ended up, I always wanted to be a mom. And in my book, I also talk about adopting my very own child, and the joy and the blessing that that's given me. So again, I hope that inspires many people there. If you've got dreams, if you've got aspirations, go for it, no matter what negative experiences you're going through, because the negative experiences are short-lived, they're temporary. And they, you know, if you just go ahead and just say, this is a negative experience that's affecting my sense of worth, but I'm still going to hold on to my dreams, I'm still going to hold on to my aspirations, you will get there. You will get there. It's just having that strong faith and belief in yourself, and knowing that we're all blessed and we're all unique in our own way. So I just wanted to read a couple of affirmations from my book. So one of the affirmations is, when I allow my self-worth to rise, negative thoughts and feelings evaporate. I believe in the power of my worth. So basically, I wanted to sort of convey that the moment you start feeling negative, or the moment you start thinking bad thoughts about yourself, you know, just say to yourself, I'm a unique being, I've got self-worth, and I am worthy. And what that actually does is help that negativity to not rise up and consume you. Well, it did for me. So I think it's really important to have affirmations because they really help you in very negative situations or when you're going through a bad experience. And I've put, I believe I'm worth it every moment, every second, all day and all night. And that's so crucial for us as people of color. We're brought up, most of us are brought up in a predominantly white society that makes us feel worthless and makes us feel that we have nothing of worth to offer. And so just keep saying, I'm worth it every second, every moment, every minute, day and night. Nobody's going to take that sense of worth away from me or away from you. And the other thing I had to learn about my experiences was actually forgiving and compassion. So when I show compassion to others, both my worth and my confidence grow. And that is so crucial because I felt, I started to realize if I'm locked in bitterness, if I'm locked in hatred, if I'm locked in that sense of revenge towards other people who have hurt me or belittled me or devalued me, actually, how can my own self-worth grow? It doesn't grow. You may think it grows, but actually it doesn't grow at all. Your confidence can't grow. Your confidence and power come from saying, I don't like what you did. I don't condone what you did, but I forgive you. And because in forgiving, I'm free of the power of your negativity and what it held over me. So that was another affirmation that really helped me, that, you know, when I show compassion to others, both my worth and my confidence grow, because you're showing that other person, or you're showing those people that there's nothing, they haven't got that power over you. And so I had that epiphany moment. So that was an affirmation. Today's the day I say enough to a lack of self-belief, so the roots of my worth can take hold and finally grow. I had to come to that realization. It was a very low point. It's written in my memoir. I personally believe I had a visitation from my guardian angel. And I believe that my guardian angel told me, you know what, you can either sit here and wallow, or you can actually say, I'm going to, wallow in self-pity, or you're going to go out there and face the world, which is what we're all meant to do. Hold your head up high. And so I use this affirmation. Today's the day I say enough to a lack of self-belief, so the roots of my worth can take hold and finally grow. And I had to keep repeating that to myself over and over again. I'm going to say enough to a lack of self-belief. I'm going to say enough to this lack of negativity. I'm going to say enough to this lack of self-worth, and I'm going to help myself to grow. And I realized that if I was stuck in that place of negativity all the time, I was never going to grow, either spiritually, either mentally, or either in my worth. And so that was really important for me, to help the roots of my worth grow. Compassion, forgiveness, and actually having that realization and saying, enough is enough. I refuse to carry on letting any of these negative experiences have that power over me. I have got to let the roots of my worth grow. And, that realization, it was almost like an epiphany moment, basically. And I think we all get that. I was listening to Wendell earlier, and I was just sitting there listening to his inspirational story. And I was thinking, wow, or everybody that's come on, actually, I don't remember everybody's names, but I know I will look at the post that Makonnen puts, because I'm interested in everybody's books. But, we've all had that moment where we've said, enough is enough. And I'm going to do something positive with my life. So I think we've all got it in us. It's just believing in it and taking that and letting that root of worth grow. I'm just going to go through one more affirmation, and I'm going to explain that one to you. So I said, my worth says that every negative experience is a flame. When I refuse to give it air, it is extinguished and has no power over me. So I was talking to some children the other day, and I was explaining to, obviously I tell them my story, but not in a child-focused way. But I was just explaining to them, if somebody's being mean to you, if somebody's being cruel to you, if somebody's saying that you're no good to you, then, if you let those people's words come into your mind and affect you, you're actually letting that flame, that fire keep on growing and growing, and it's going to consume you, and you're going to go down and shrivel up. But if you don't, if you imagine you've got a fire extinguisher, that word comes up. Oh, so-and-so says I'm useless. So-and-so says I'm mean. So-and-so says I'm, I don't deserve this, or I don't deserve that. The moment I told them, get hold of that fire extinguisher and blow that flame out, blow it out, put it out with your fire extinguisher. And they chuckled and giggled at that. But I just hoped, for me to give any negative thought, that flame, any thought that comes up that's negative, it is a flame. Put it out before it takes hold and shrivels me up, completely. So I just hope that people will pick up my book and they will read Worth. It came out in March 2020. It's available on Amazon. It's also available in England in Waterstones, a bookshop, and it's available in Barnes and Noble. It's available in the USA. It's published by Hay House, and that's another story in itself. But I just want to say thank you, Makonnen, and thank you everybody for listening to me. And I do hope that you will pick up this book and read it. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. I am Cory Graves. I am in the United States in North Carolina, the state of North Carolina specifically. I am a former special education teacher of 15 years. Started my journey with kids many, many years ago. They are my muse. My former students became why I started a company called SFC Define. SFC stands for Strong, Focused, and Confident. Students that they told me that would not pass our state test. And as a result, they wanted them taken out of the classrooms of the regular, so-called regular kids. They gave them to me, and I asked if I could just spend an hour a day, twice a week with them. And I pushed them by changing their mindset about themselves. Education was very intimidating to them. And these special needs kids, after spending a couple of months with them, telling them how confident they were, they started growing. By the end of the time, they were able to take and pass the end of grade colors, beating some of their so-called regular counterparts. So I turned this in 2019, and this was many years later, into a business. I wrote my first book back in 2015 for adults. Then I started writing for children. I left our school system in 2012, and I now am a published children's book author. My books center around inclusion and diversity, which I think has become a major, major problem all around the world. Embrace their differences. They no longer embrace their uniqueness, and they've taken on this I need to be a part of the crowd mindset or mentality. And I think that that is detrimental in raising leaders and lions, like the young man from Nigeria said. So my whole books is simply just self-empowerment on a children's level. My books are written from elementary to middle school level, but I have had so many adults read the books and they are blown away by its content because it speaks directly to them. It's really about self-empowerment and realizing what you have down on the inside. I have a 7-year-old grandson, and he truly inspires me to write. He keeps me thinking, new books constantly being poured out. The title of my book series is called Poppy, Can You Teach Me How? And it's simply my grandson asking me questions. Can you teach me how to be loving and kind? Can you teach me how to love myself for who I am? Those types of questions. Each one of my books has a series of questions in the beginning that sort of prompts discussions between teacher and student, or between parent and child. I try to put at least 5 questions in the front of each book to sort of kind of guide their minds as they are reading some of the books. I have the first book has been translated into Spanish, and I'm getting the other ones translated. The next one is Poppy, What If I? Again, what if I grow up to be completely different than you? Will you still love me for me? I can't wait to see, is one of the pages in the book. So it talks about him. The third book is one of my favorite books, and it's entitled I Am. And just so that you can see some of the content and how it says, sometimes I wonder what others think when they look at me. Will they draw the wrong conclusion based off of what they see? Are they looking at my hair, my eyes, my nose, or my size? What does that matter? I'd like to know. Won't that change as I grow? I will introduce myself to every person I meet in the store, in the mall, and even in the street. I'll say, there's more to me than what you see. Don't be afraid or intimidated. It's just me. Doesn't matter if I'm chunky, thin, short, or tall. It's who I am on the inside that means the most of all. So telling you who I am is as easy as 1, 2, 3, because the I am that I am is on the inside of me. And so that's the major theme of the book, is simply trying to get kids to embrace their individuality, embrace their uniqueness, and be okay if their skin color is different, if their size is different, if their religious preferences are different. If I do things, whether it's a handicap or handicapable, it doesn't matter. It's simply you embracing your uniqueness. As Makonnen said, my latest release is called The Bully and the Bullied. And it's simply speaking to both mindsets, the one that's doing the bullying and the one that is being bullied. At the end of the book, they come together and realize that they are more alike than they are different. They're both dealing with hidden issues. They are both dealing with hidden circumstances that they are acting out in a different way. One is more aggressive, the other one is passive. So at the end of the book, they come together and they become friends. I was at an event on yesterday, and a lady came up to me and she told me that her daughter had been bullied. And by reading the book, she went and confronted her bully, and now they're close friends, and now they help each other and help other kids to stand up to their bullies and try to form and forge friendships and relationships with the person that they were intimidated by the most. So that's it in a nutshell for me. I really have a passion for children, but I think several of you have spoken in regards to mental health. You've spoken in regards to self-empowerment, and I salute you and I applaud all of you for those efforts, because that's the real pandemic, in my opinion, is that we are struggling now trying to figure out who we are, because we have bought into social media and just media in general, who tries to steer us in the direction of being a part of the crowd. I think it's important that we be proud of who we are, no matter who we are, whether we look like somebody or whether we act like somebody. I really believe that it is so empowering when you know who you are. And I don't believe that we should have to wait until we are adults to figure out who we are and embrace who we are. I think that if we can get this type of curriculum put in our schools, in our daycares, where kids are proud of being different and proud of being outside of the norm. I think that we can change the fabric of this society. I think we can change the trajectory of so many kids. And instead of hiding from their differences, they will learn to embrace their differences. It won't be something that will keep them hidden behind the closets or in the closets or behind the veil, but they will simply stand out and say, hey, this is me, take it or leave it. Ms. Jenkins said that she found that in her journey. And I think if we can get that mindset in our children at a very early age, that we can simply change the trajectory of our world, of our societies, no matter where we are. All of my information, my business is called SFC Defined, DEFINED, SFC Define. It stands for Strong, Focused, and Confident Define.com. You can get books and other items that we have for sale, self-empowering books, or you can go to Cory A. Graves, CoryAGraves.com, and you can order from there. I really appreciate Makonnen. Thank you for this platform. Thank you for being led. So many of us that probably wouldn't get the exposure were it not for you. So hats off to you today. Thank you.
So this book here is my new book that's going to be available to pre-order. It's called How to Market and Sell Your Book, A Guide for Beginners. The book will be coming out very, very soon. And what the book is, as well as being the host of the Black Book Show, I'm also a book coach who, does mentoring and do courses as well. And a lot of times people come up to me, whether on the platform and various places, they come up to me and ask me how they can market and book and get more sales. So this book, in a nutshell, is a great tool for authors, particularly for the authors that are people that are just aspiring to be an author, or new authors, or authors that are about to release another book, and they want more success, or people that don't know where to start. So I'm just going to read part of the back of the book, which is the blurb, and it says, have you written a book but would like to increase your book sales? Are you about to release a book and need some guidance on how to market it? Do you want to know proven methods and techniques that you can use to help you market and sell your book? Have you tried to market and sell your book but are unhappy with the results you're getting? If your answer is yes to any of those questions above, this book will be an essential read for you, because it contains valuable information with marketing. So it contains valuable information that will help you become successful with marketing and selling your book. The target market of this book is new authors, aspiring authors, and authors in general who need help with marketing and selling their books. The book includes topics such as techniques on closing book sales from conversations, how to use media to promote your book, how to turn your book into a business, and becoming an international author as opposed to being a local author or national author. If you're about to release a new book, you'll find this book beneficial, as it highlights how to make money before you have released your book, how to have a successful book launch, and the pros and cons of having your book self-published versus traditionally published. So that's just basically an insight into some of the content in the book. And, just one marketing tip, and one thing I've just done, even with me just, sending out a link in the Zoom chat where people can pre-order the book. The book explains that, how you can actually get people to pre-order your book before it is released. If you're about to release a book, how you can, successfully do a book launch. Now, before the show started, I was talking to one of the authors, S.E. Wilson, and he was telling me that, that he's got a book launch on August the 17th in his local town, Peterborough. And, he's doing the book launch, but he's doing it in collaboration of an event. And when I launched my book launch, I did it, but it was also, there was another event going on. So that's also a useful tip. And the reason why, that is, it's good to have a book launch when you're not doing a collaboration with people or events in general, is, networking, you're tapping into other people's market. You're not having to spend out the 500, 600, 700 pounds on hiring a venue. You've already got a market of people that are already going to be at that event. I come from a sales background, as being, working for some companies and being a bestseller in the country, working for one company at one point. And the sales background mentality that I have is that it's nothing to sell to a family or friend. A family and friend can buy your book anytime. It's really just the people that don't know you. And you know, if you're at a store, I used to do a lot of markets, and you know, for people coming up to your store and having a conversation with you and then wanting to buy on your book, those are the real wins. It's like people, when you used to come in the store, I used to do retail, I used to do door-to-door knocking, I've done different sales roles, but it's always, you know what, I want to say, a lot of people call it the hard sell, but it's always, you know, the ones that I feel, particularly with writing a book, the ones where people weren't necessarily, may not have knew about me or not knew about the book, but then from having that kind of conversation with me, they've then, you know what, bought the book. And there's very skills that you can use in having a conversation, depending on who you're speaking to, how you can tailor make your conversation. You know, some people will buy the book just because they want to support you. Some people will buy it because, you know, the content that is in the book. Some people, you know, buy the book, you may be able to appeal to them on an emotional level. So it based on who your target audience is, will, you know, you will choose on the way. But with this book, it has a lot of unique techniques as well, in terms of, you know, how to have conversations around, you know, selling your book, and how to techniques that we use, you know, to help you close book sales, and, you know, the different style of conversations, and just little things, you know, like depending on, you know, what profession you're doing, how you can bring your book into conversations with people. So jobs, for example, like, I mean, if you're got your taxi driver, if you're a barber, your hairdresser, you've got regular customers, you're in kind of already environment where your people are talking, a social kind of environment, where if you're going to like your barber shop, for example, and you're getting a haircut, he's been a regular customer for years or months, for example. You're talking about how's your life, what you've been up to. Straight away, it leads into conversation about your book, and being passionate about the book that you've written as well. So knowing who you're marketing it to. Your book shouldn't be marketed to everyone. You should be specific about it. But a lot of times people buy from people, and in sales, I've always had thought like that, and it's always been the case. So sometimes people will just buy your book if they feel your energy, and also even if it's like not for you, sorry, it's not for them. Like if it's like a children's book, for example, we had some children's authors that comment earlier. If it's that, it may be, you know, if someone's gone to your store, maybe the children's book isn't necessarily for them because they're not a child, but they will have, if they don't have a child, they might have a niece, they might have a nephew, they might have someone in that particular age group. So don't just write them off just because, you know, you can't sell them a book, because you can sell them to book. And just like as a gift as well, if you can sell, depending on what your book is, you can sell your book for gift, even if it's something's not necessarily their flavor, but they might have someone, you know, that they know who that particular book would suit them. So there's various things that I mentioned in the book. This is an international platform, the Black Book Show. So even something I mentioned, becoming, you know, and seeing yourself as an international author as opposed to a local or national author. We live in a world now where we, you know, platforms like this are able to happen, where we have people joining us from all different parts of the world. This webinar has been mainly, you know, people in UK and USA, but, you know, people come on the platform sometimes in Africa, then the Caribbean, they're in, you know, Australia, Canada, various parts of the world. So it's really important that to have an international market, unless obviously you've made a book specifically to target people in that geographical location, but having a international market just gives you a bigger market to extend your book, because it may be that, say you're in a country and, you know, you've written a book which is to cater towards a certain niche, but in that country there may be thousands, or there may be a smaller amount of people that are interested in that. But if you look at yourself as, you know, selling to, you know, people in the world, there's going to be a lot more people that can purchase your book. So with my two books, my first book, The Rise of Rastafari, and my second book, Life in Gambia, The Smiling Coast of Africa, they're both aimed at, you know, people of African heritage throughout the world. If I just said that I just want to aim my books at, you know what, people of African heritage in UK, I'm aiming at what, maybe a couple of million, a few million people, as opposed to billions of people that could be my market in the world. So I think look at seeing yourself as an international author as opposed to a local author. And, you know, there's various different things in the book. Another thing I talk about, you know, self-publishing versus traditional publishing, because, you know, a lot of times people don't understand that when you're self-publishing a book, that don't rely on, you know, the publisher to really to promote your book, that you need to do the work yourself, even if you're traditionally publishing, but particularly if you've gone through a self-publishing route. Don't just rely on your book publisher to, you know what, to market your book, because that's not going to happen. And look very carefully in the contract that you have, if it's part of the agreement for any marketing services that they offer. Some book publishers you can purchase and they take out marketing with them, but even still, they're only going to give you that marketing service that you paid for. So you really have to do, you know, do the work yourself to market and promote your book. So that's just literally a literal taster of my book, How to Market and Sell Your Book, a guide for beginners. I wasn't really expecting to come on and say anything, but I thought, you know, as I'm releasing a new book soon and with a bit of spare time, I'm just gonna come on and talk about it. But that book is an essential read for authors, and even though it's, you know, it's catered to really beginners and newbie authors, or authors that want to increase their book sales, or maybe they've had struggle with marketing, also or authors that are more advanced that have written multiple books can still benefit from it as well, because there's a lot of great content in there will be useful to authors in general. But is a user-friendly book, particularly for, you know, beginners. It's very easy to read. It's very simple. And just a reminder that that book can be purchased via the link that I've sent you. So if you go on the link in the Zoom chat, it's there, How to Market and Sell Your Book by Makonnen Sankofa.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tamera Foley, CEO of Education for All Now and Garwell Publishing. I am so happy to be with you today. I just want to share just a few things about each of our companies. Education for All Now is a company that serves children with disabilities. We also do many services, that being presenting information on social emotional learning to districts, organizations, or associations. We also do private tutoring, and we also help parents maneuver their way through the public and private school systems. We also have books, and our series is the Cassie's Big Change series. Garwell Publishing helps independent authors to publish books. We will guide you from your manuscript all the way to being a published author. And you handle everything. You are part of the entire process, and you get your own royalties sent directly to you. We do not manage that. You are independently published. So today, I want to thank Makonnen for inviting us to be one of the sponsors of the Black Book Show. And today I just want to share with you a couple of things. So coming up next week, August 2nd, is National Coloring Book Day. National Coloring Book Day. And so you think about, what are some of the benefits of coloring? So of course, in our series, the Cassie's Big Change series, we have Cassie's Big Change Coloring and Activity Book. So when most of us think of coloring, we think of it as when we were a young child trying to learn to color in the lines. My mother was a daycare teacher, and she is adamant about helping children improve their coloring skills. So let's think about, what are your first memories of coloring? Was it positive? So let's look at the benefits. First of all, coloring is therapeutic. Coloring therapy may be beneficial for well-being and recovery of children that have experienced trauma. It does not matter if the child had one-time traumatic event or a reoccurring trauma. Coloring may help to recover from that trauma. We also know that some children have difficulty sharing their feelings in words. So the drawing or lines and the creativity helps them to heal. And coloring is a part of the creative arts. Coloring helps that recovery process of a child in trauma. Coloring also helps all of us to relax. It helps us to feel safe and gives time for the brain to recover. Now, we also have Explore My Emotions, 45-day journal for elementary school age children. And I also believe that it's important for children to explore their emotions. And this is a place for them to write, explore their emotions, their feelings, and to dream about where they want to be in the future. So while some people believe that children should not journal, we beg to differ. We believe that journaling is important, especially now with the rise of mental health. And we agree that having a journal alone is certainly not a substitute for mental health treatment, but it can help. And what helps even more is that we have journals accessible for children. And also, children do not always talk about their feelings or their emotions. So we've also added, as some of our new merchandise, Cassie's Feelings cards. And these can only be purchased on our website at cassiesbigchange.com. And we have one for each book. And there is the word proud. On the other side, there is a picture from the book showing where the child felt proud, okay? And then a definition. And so these are certainly in the packet that you receive when you purchase this. You get 2 rings, and you can either decide to have them like this. In this particular set, we also have, because we believe that social emotional learning is important, we have social emotional learning concepts, and certainly the definition. And again, when children, self-management, just things that are part of those concepts. So we want to make sure that children are expressing their feelings, children are given the benefit. And so we have a lot of new products at cassiesbigchange.com, and we are here to help you. We are here to support your author journey. I just want to say kudos to everyone who has written a book, whether this is your first book or your 19th book. Congratulations, because it is not an easy journey, but certainly it is a journey that is well worth it. So congratulations to all of you. And anytime you need our services, please feel free to go to educationforallnow.org or garwellpublishing.com, or you can always look for all of our products at cassiesbigchange.com. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful journey.
My name is Gale Rucker, but my author name is Camille St. Charles, Mississippi, and I am based in irresistible Detroit, Michigan. Yay, Detroit. Hey, listen, I'm here to speak with you today about my latest book titled Dessert Novella, Sweet. It's a cookbook that I came up with. Now, it's not your grandmother's cookbook. It's a very naughty cookbook, kiddies. But I came up with this concept because my sister was having some difficulty in the love arena. She found herself in the midst of a triangle. And the gentleman caller that she was involved with had a wife, a girlfriend, and he had her. they had been doing this little dance together for a year. And she finally was disgusted and she told me about it. And as she was expressing her sorrow about the misgivings of the relationship, she told me that she was envious of the gentleman's wife because she wanted to be the main chick. And I said, oh. I said, well, sometimes, sweetie, being married over 30 years, sometimes being married is overrated. And I said, but listen, I said, when this gentleman comes to see you, how do you feel? And she said, oh, I feel delicious. And I said, oh, well, you are his dessert. And she told me that she didn't understand what I was saying. And I said, well, you know, his wife and his kids are the meat and the potatoes of his life. That's his stability and his foundation. The other girlfriend and the job, that's the breadsticks and the salad. And I said, but you, my friend, you are his dessert. I said, when people choose their dessert, I have found, they're not concerned about caloric intake, religious affiliation, political. They're not concerned about monetary gain. They're only concerned about the pleasure and the passion and the desire that they feel as they are consuming the dessert. And I said, you are his dessert. And she still was somewhat unsure. So I wrote her a little story. I am already a published author. So I wrote her a story and I gave it to her. She read it to the gentleman and he was exceptionally pleased and he was laughing about the stories and he wanted to know did I have any more. And so I wrote them 3 little stories and I gave it to them. And I titled them, because red velvet cake is one of my favorite desserts. So I titled the story, Red Velvet Cake Slice 1, 2, and 3. And they were all 3 different stories. There is a very erotic thread running through each and every dessert novella. But make no mistake, the desired destination is passion. So I titled these naughty stories after world famous desserts. So that's when I came up with my book. I decided that since I am not a chef, I had to co-author this book with a chef because I am not a cook per se like that. So I had a chef make up beautiful desserts that I had already written stories for. And then I asked him to please include the pictures. So when you open up the book, the beautiful dessert is right there. The next page, the recipe on how to consume that dessert. And then on the following page, a naughty little story opens up and it tells you that this is something that could possibly happen behind the dessert. And I told my sister, I said, you should be thrilled
that you are going to play with this young man. Being his dessert. I'm sorry. My bug went out. Back on. Am I back?
Yep, we can hear you. You're back.
Okay. Sorry. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're back.
Okay. I told her that she is his dessert. And that's from the 3 stories that I wrote.
The 3 stories that I wrote and I gave to her on a whole universe. So after the 3 stories, I ended up with 75 dessert novellas. And this is volume 1. And they are all stories that have an erotic thread through them. Plus, there's a little taste of sin inside of each and every story. And when I first got started writing these stories, I have a friend that has a bistro. So they would often have poetry slams at the end of the bistro. And once a month, I would go down to the bistro, and I am not a poet, and I do not compete. So I would go to the bistro, and I would read one of my dessert novellas. But to make a nice little presentation, I would have the friend of mine make said dessert. So as I am up on the stage performing the body of work, the audience is nibbling on said dessert. And it got a really great following until COVID showed up and knocked the bottom out of everything. But I made my sister aware that she doesn't have to worry about not being pleasing and appetizing to this gentleman because he showed up 2 or 3 times weekly to dine on her. And I said, so, you are his dessert. And I said, enjoy yourself if that is what you are going to do. I said, because in the banquet or on the banquet of life that all of us experience, sometimes you're not concerned about the calories. You only desire to be dined on and dined on properly. So I said, you are his dessert. Enjoy yourself. Make sure that this is what you want. Nobody's forcing you to do this. And I had so much fun doing the dessert novella cookbook that I stepped into the arena and I do now a bi-monthly dessert novella podcast because some people don't have the opportunity to sit there and read. So I tell you, I sometimes act out some of the scenarios and scenes inside of the stories, but I tell you a naughty little story in less than 30 minutes of some of my dessert novella podcasts. I can put the link for the podcast in the chat. And also, you can contact me or reach me or find my books on Camille, St. Charles, Mississippi. And all of my books are sold on Amazon, iBookstore, and also my latest dessert novella has been turned into an ebook. And you can branch off and find it when you visit the Dessert Novella podcast or dessertnovella.com. Or you can go to my personal website, Camille St. Charles, Mississippi.com. So let me know if you have any questions or anything, but welcome to the world of dessert novellas. And if I had time, I can tell you just a little snippet from one of my stories if I haven't gone over my limit. How am I for time?
Yeah, you've got time for that.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the first stories, because I wasn't sure if I wanted them to be very racy, because I already write erotica. So I was going to just write a nice little sweet, delicate story for myself, just different. And the story that I'm going to tell you a sample of is called Peach Cobbler. There was a gentleman and a lady who were meeting to get to know one another. These were just two spirits in the process of getting familiar with one another. And they were fascinated. They enjoyed each other's company. They both admired how they looked, and they both smelled delicious. But the gentleman, being a man who was somewhat hungry for something more, he told the young lady that I'd like a kiss if it's not going to be too aggressive, if you don't mind. And he said, I want to offer you the perfect kiss. And the lady said, what does the perfect kiss taste like? And the gentleman said, as far as I'm concerned, the perfect kiss tastes like my favorite dessert. And she said, well, what is your favorite dessert? He said, my favorite dessert is peach cobbler, but I'm not concerned about the inner workings of the peach cobbler. It's the crust of the peach cobbler that gets me. If the crust can capture my attention, it seals the deal and it gives me the kiss of life. So if we can possibly kiss, because the perfect kiss does not contain too much moisture, it's not too dry, and all of the feelings are there, but they're not presented as one. So they stepped outside of this bistro and they stood there and they admired one another and they were in awe. And he tilted his head to one side and she tilted her head to a side, and they joined together as one, and they linked up and offered each other the perfect kiss. It tasted to him like the crust from a peach cobbler. It was delicious to both of them as they stood there and dined on one another. And after they separated from the kiss, it was like a drip of honey was linking both of them together. The honey from her mouth and the honey from his mouth was joining them together, and they stepped back and it separated. And he said to her, now, that's perfection right there. The crust of a peach cobbler. That was just a little sample. So I just wanted to tell you, thank you so much for allowing me to participate in the Black Book Show. Like I said, you can find me, CamilleSt.CharlesMississippi.com. Also, you can Google my dessert novella Sweet Cookbook because I consider them episodic love. It's 11 little episodes inside this book, and you will enjoy it. Thank you all so much.